Hello guys, welcome to another day for Networking Labs. My name is Mebo Johnson Vola, a graduate in telecommunication engineering and mobile network with many years of experience and your lecturer in this series. So guys, today we are going to look at inter-VLAN and DHCP configuration. So we have seen DHCP configuration in our previous lecture, but today we are going to merge the two to see into inter-VLAN and DHCP configuration. So without wasting much time, let's get into Packet Tracer and see how this is being done. So here we are in Packet Tracer, and this is a topology that I've built up. And in this topology, I've created, named 3 different VLANs that we are going to configure with their various IP. So if you see here, we have sale, and all the department in a sale will be under VLAN 10, and they are going to carry this particular IP address. And the department in finance are going to be in VLAN 20, and they are going to carry this particular IP address, while the HR is going to be under VLAN 30 with this IP address. Now, if you remember, in our previous lecture, we saw where it was difficult or impossible for devices to communicate with one another meanwhile they are in different networks. And we also saw that it was impossible or difficult for VLANs to communicate with one another. So here we have merged the two. You can see that the IP address here is in a different network from this one, same as it is in this one. This is .162.168.10. This is .20. This is .30. So these are all in different network, and they'll be in different VLAN. So our purpose here is to make a configuration where the devices in this different network and different VLANs will be able to communicate with each other. So let's go ahead and start our configuration with the switch by creating the different VLAN and then putting the various ports in the various VLANs. So here we are. We move to the global configuration mode where we usually do all the configuration. And you remember the command to create the VLAN is straightforward. As long as we are creating standard VLANs, there are no external rules that like your switch must be running VTP version 3, or you have to put it in transparent mode before creating VLAN 10. Here we go straight. So we create VLAN 10 and the name, we give it sales. Okay, so the next VLAN is VLAN 20, and we give it the name finance. All these names are just for lecture purpose. You will name your VLAN based on the structuring of your organization or the network in which you want to build. Create now VLAN 30, and the name we have HR. Okay guys, so we have successfully created our various VLAN. If we now say do show VLAN, we will see that we have successfully created 3 different VLAN in this switch. So the next step we are going to do is to assign the various ports to this VLAN. So let's start with VLAN 10. Here we have port 02 to port 04. Okay. You said interface range. Remember, when you want to gather more than one port, or when you want to put several interfaces into one VLAN, instead of going and individually assigning the port, you use the interface range command. So we take your interface range, fast Ethernet 0/2 to 4. We hard code it by putting the command switch port mode access, and we say switch port access VLAN .10. Okay, now we go to the next interface. That's interface. Let's come here. Interface 05 to 06. So we go now to the next interface. That's from 07 to 09. Set interface range. Okay guys, we have successfully put the different port in their various VLANs. You can see this one is still initiating the communications since we have shifted the port from the native VLAN, which is VLAN 1, to VLAN 20. Oh, we forgot one thing. We have to put this interface in trunk mode. We have to put this interface in trunk mode here. First internet 0, 1. Let's just finish with the switch before going to the router. Okay. Okay, so we are done with the switch. So now the next step is to come into this router and create inter-VLAN and DHCP pool. So let's go straight into it. So what we are going to do here is that we are not going to directly create an IP address. We are not going to directly assign an IP address into this interface of the router. So what we are going to do is we are going to create sub-interface in accordance to these various IPs in the different VLAN. So what we do is we create sub-interface in this particular interface pertaining to these various VLANs. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we say interface fast Ethernet 0/0. I think it's 0/0, right? Yeah, 0/0 .10. So this is to identify this sub interface to this VLAN, or let's say to map this interface to this particular VLAN number. Okay, so we enter, and the next thing we have to do is to enable the language of inter-VLAN in this particular sub interface. And the language that inter-VLAN do understand is the encapsulation.1Q. So we now say encapsulation .1Q, and we still map it to this particular VLAN number. Okay, so the next thing we have to do now is to assign the IP address to this particular sub interface. We say IP address 192.168.10.1 255.255.255.0. Okay, so we have created a sub interface with its IP address. Now we go further to create the other sub interface. We still go back to that particular interface fast Ethernet 0/0.20. Now we are creating a sub interface for .20. Set encapsulation IP address 192.168.20.1 255.255.255.0. So the next thing now is the third interface. We set interface first Ethernet 0/0.30 encapsulation .1Q30. Okay, now IP address 192.168.30.1 255 with the subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. What went wrong? IP address 192.168.30.1 255.255.255.0. Okay, so guys, we have successfully created the different sub interface for these VLANs. So if we now say show IP interface brief, this is one of my favorite command, show IP interface brief, we will see here that the interface, fast internet interface 0/0 does not have a particular address assigned to it. You see here unassigned, okay, and it's still administratively down. But once we turn this interface to administratively up, all this other interface will be up. And then you see that these are the sub interface with the various IP address that we have assigned to them. So the next thing we have to do now is to create our DHCP pool. So in this manner, we have already created inter-VLAN, but we will all see it, we will see all that as we finish creating the DHCP pool in this server. So the next step we have to go on to now is to create the DHCP pool. So we say configure T and we say IP DHCP pool. We give it the name. So we say set sales, and then we define the network 192.168.10.0 255.255.255.0. and now what is the next command is the default router. So here the default router will be the IP address, the static IP address we gave to this sub interface. Okay, so we are in sale, and sale is the 192.168.10 network, and this is the IP address we gave to that interface. So this is the interface we give here as the default router. So this is the router by which this DHCP pool will use to assign the various DHCP addresses to this particular VLAN. So default router we say 192.168.10.1. We do the same for the other sub interface, IP DHCP pool finance network 192.168.20.255.255.0. What's happening? Oh, here an error with the subnet mask. So just copy. Yes, we come here 255.0. So the default router will be 192.168.20.1. So we go now to the next. We are creating the different DHCP pool for the different VLAN. IP DHCP pool HR network .13. Okay guys, so like this we have successfully created inter-VLAN and DHCP on this router. Okay, pretty very simple guys, pretty simple. So what we have to do now, we see that the state of this interface is still down, so we have to come here and turn it to administratively up. So we go to interface, first Ethernet 0/0. We say what? We put the command no short. Immediately we put that command, you see the state now turns up. Perfect. So let's save our command and we see if all our configuration is effective. Good. So let's wait for this state to completely establish its connection. Okay, so let's start here to see if we'll get an IP address from this pool of IP address that we configured. Come to desktop, IP address. Boom, you see, it now pulls an IP address from 192.168.10.2, which is this subclass of IP address that we gave to this particular VLAN. Okay, so let's see if this one will pick from .3. Boom, picks an IP address from .3. Boom, from .4. Okay, now let's go to the other network. This one, the network is from .20. Let's see if everything is configured and working perfectly. Come here. Boom, 192.168.20.2. You see guys, pretty simple. Okay, pretty simple. You see, the most important thing here is for you to practice and practice and practice. The more you practice, the more you get acquainted with these commands, and the more it becomes more very easy and simple for you to create topologies and set up your network without any issue and without any complication. Remember, in our previous lecture we saw that it was impossible for devices in different networks to communicate with each other, and it was also difficult for devices that are in different VLAN to communicate with device in another VLAN. But here you can see that by implementing DHCP and inter-VLAN together using the language of .1q encapsulation, this is pretty much simple. And everything you see here is not limited to just this packet tracer. This is as you do in real life material, real life Cisco switch configuration. When I want to set up a network for any organization, I make sure I come to packet tracer and configure all these things and see it working. I just go now and follow what I have configured and I've configured in my packet tracer, and I just implement them to have a perfect and smooth work. without stressing, without facing difficulties, and without any challenge. So whatever we do here in Packet Tracer is the same thing, guys, that you apply in real life materials to get real results. Okay, so you see the printer also is pulling IP address from that same .20. Okay, now let's go to HR desktop. Boom, you see it's picking IP address from 30. This is the default gateway, which is the IP address we gave to the sub interface of this particular VLAN 30. So you see that everything is working perfectly and smoothly. The only limitation here for you is your time of practicing. So if you're someone that have not been, having access to real life Cisco switch, router, printer, and all the like, this is a perfect solution for you to get more hands-on skill, more practical skill before integrating the job market. Even when you integrate the job market, this tool Packet Tracer is very, very important for you to implement and to design your network and implement everything before going to the field to implement them. Okay, so guys, we can see that our DHCP is successfully working. So the next step we have to check is to see if the inter-VLAN that we have created is perfectly working. So what we'll try to do is to see if this PC can ping the PC here in VLAN 20. Okay, so in here we have 192.168.20.2, and here the IP address here is what? 192.168.10.2. So let's try to see if this PC in this VLAN can ping this PC in this other VLAN and in this other network class or network, or in this particular network. So say ping 192.168.20.2. Boom, you can see that the network is this IP is successfully communicating with this other PC in the .20 network. So the first request timeout was due to app address resolution protocol. That is why that is the reason for this first fail, due to app. But you see that the next ping packet get through successfully, meaning that the IP, this PC in this particular sales department or in VLAN 10 can successfully communicate with the PC in VLAN 20. So let's see if this PC in VLAN 20 can successfully communicate with this PC in HR. So we come here, the IP address here is 30.2. So let's see, let's use this other PC. Let's see if it can ping 192.168.30.2. Boom, you see that the HR PC is successfully replying back to this ping request. Like I said, the first failed ping request is due to app, and you see that the remaining packets goes through successfully, meaning that these PCs can communicate with each other, though they are in different VLAN and though they are in different network. All this thanks to the concept of what? Inter-VLAN. So this is what we wanted to look at in these lectures, guys. So I believe that you have a grasp of the concept. So we see further concepts as we move forward with our lecture. But to be more precise, what we are going to look for in subsequent class is the routing protocol, like RIP, OSPF, most of the routing protocols, and then we are going to combine all this together and create an enterprise network. So without much to say about this particular topic, this is how you do inter-VLAN and you also do DHCP together. So the next the next concept we are going to look at is routing protocols. We are going to look at RIP, OSPF, and other routing protocol. And after looking into all those protocols, we are going to join this concept now and do a small lab, like build a business or an organization network using these various concepts that we have seen so far. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, there is still much that is coming ahead. All that matters is your commitment, your time, and your encouragement. Okay, we are going to look into several things. After this, we are going to look at network administration using Windows Server 2019 or 2022. We are going to look at how we can use Wireshark to troubleshoot our network and solve problems. Okay, it all depends on how you react and how you follow the lecture. Okay guys, see you in the next class.